As you've heard, there's been a settlement with the Hagen's Fisker Ocean team on the Fisker Ocean, and it gives a kind of lifeline or some options to the Fisker Ocean owners out there, such as myself. You've probably seen two letters that are floating out there on the internet. Now, the first letter is from the Hagen's teams to a few Fisker owners out there. I did not receive this email or letter from the Hagen's team, but they are basically the arbitrators for Fisker owners out there, and they've made a settlement with JP Morgan Chase along with Rivian. So the letter basically says that JP Morgan Chase along with Rivian will reach out to Fisker owners with a letter. And Fisker's owners have three options. The first one being that Rivian will purchase back the Fisker Ocean, basically a buyout for the Fisker Ocean for a certain amount. And the second option being that if you don't want to just take the buyout, you can trade in your Fisker Ocean for a Rivian for the same amount that they are saying they want to buy out the Fisker Ocean for. And the third option is if your Fisker Ocean is not in a good condition or if it's bricked, that they will determine a price that they will buy out the Fisker Ocean for you. And with these three options, it sounds pretty good for Fisker owners to kind of get out of their car, and maybe a lifeline for some people to kind of either sell their car or trade in for a Rivian and get out of an unsupported vehicle like the Fisker Ocean. There could be a lot of headaches in the future. You're not sure if the car will brick on you or will last. And it also helps ease the concerns of owning a Fisker Ocean. Of course, there's been some recalls on the Fisker Ocean, and right now, since the company is bankrupt, there's really no one out there to do the fixes for you or do the upgrades for you for the software upgrades. Now with that first letter, those options sound pretty nice, that JP Morgan Chase is going to send you out a letter and basically give you a buyout price for your Fisker, or you can use that buyout price to trade in for a Rivian, depending on your situation. Or if it's brick, there's going to be a determination on how much your car is worth for that. I got the letter from Fisker Finance, which is from JP Morgan Chase, and it's right here. And it only actually states that my option is to trade in my vehicle to a Rivian for a certain amount of price. And now the price is different for everybody. My trade-in value says that it's going to be $39,616.09. I've only had this car for a year, but with this letter, I'm only listed with one option on there. Now, this trade-in value may also be a buyback value. I'm not 100% sure. I actually did call this number on the top here to just kind of talk through with Fisker Finance to see what my options are before I filled out the response that they're asking for on the back of this letter. There is, of course, a deadline stated in the back of this letter stating that I have to respond by March 24th. And you want to take advantage of any of Rivian's incentives, you need to do that by March 31st, or at least take delivery of a Rivian by March 31st. So a very short time period. And if you want to participate on this, you have to respond at fiskerfinance.com/respond. And once you go to that site, it just asks you for a few information like your VIN number of your car, your first name, last name, your date of birth, and email. And of course, if you have an attorney, they would like to either speak to you directly, and if you want to allow that or not. If you don't, then you can just say not applicable. And after you hit submit, you just wait 1 to 2 business days for a person from Chase that represents Rivian to kind of reach out to you. It's been about 2 business days for me, so I'm expecting a call sometime this week. Now, I would like to talk a little bit more about these options and my thoughts on the options as well. A lot of people might say, yes, definitely take the buyout option or the trade-in options. You're buying a better car, whatever the thought is. I just kind of want to talk through these a little bit. Option 1, if they will buy back the Fisker from you, I think that would be a very good option for someone to pick. I think I would pick that option if they will just purchase back the Fisker Ocean. I will owe some money on this car, but at least they're gonna be basically paying out most of my loan for the Fisker Ocean. So that's a very tempting option. Now, I will say that I really love the Fisker Ocean and I really like driving it, but it does weigh on my mind that there are some recalls that I can't get fixed on it. And I'm aware of a lot of the other issues that can cause this car to go on limp mode and basically brick the car. So I am concerned about that, and I am thinking about that. And if the buyout is a real option, that is probably an option that I will take. Now, I also want to bring this up just to help any Fisker owners out there if they're considering just keeping the car. There is a channel out there called Ocean Views by Mountain Ranger, and he does a lot of maintenance and tutorials on the Fisker Ocean. He's a great channel. Check him out if you're thinking about keeping the Fisker Ocean for any reason. I'll link that down below in the description as well. He's a great resource. There's also other resources like the Fisker Owners Association that you can go to and subscribe to on their website. And there's a lot of support there. So if you decide to keep it in any way, these are the avenues you have. There's other channels as well that they'll talk about maintenance on the Fisker Ocean. Now let's talk about option 2. Now, option 2 also comes with a flyer when you get this letter here. And this flyer is the Rivian flyer that tells you the incentives that you can get up to March 31st if you take delivery of a Rivian. For the trade-in of the Fisker Ocean, you can get up to $6,000. But there is a caveat on these $6,000. You have to buy a certain vehicle from Rivian. Now, having said that, and I'm just looking at R1Ss because I'm wanting to trade an SUV for an SUV, you might be looking at an R1T for a truck or something like that. And it might be a little bit less than these numbers here. But for a R1S dual standard, which is just a range of 270, which is still quite a bit of range for SUV, 270 miles of range. At starting, it's $75,900. And the trim above that, the mid trim, is the R1S Dual, which gives you 329 miles of range for the larger battery, and the max battery gives you 410 miles of range, which starts at $83,900. And then the last trim as of right now, because there is a quad motor coming out in 2025, with the tri-motor, the R1S with the max battery has 371 miles of range. Now, it does also say that it can get up to 405 miles if you're doing it in conserve mode. So that's quite a bit of miles that you can get. But that starts at $105,900. Now you can go and get up to $6,000 or the max amount on the highest trim, which is the tri-motor. And you have to also get the max battery, which is now you're spending $105,000 on a vehicle. Now, if you were saying that I don't want to get a tri-motor because it's too expensive and maybe you want to do the dual motor, there are two options for you. So the dual standard is out of the question. It doesn't come with the max battery. You have to get a max battery Rivian to get up to the $6,000. So if you get the dual motor with the performance package, you'll get $4,500. And if you just get the dual motor with the max battery, you'll get $3,000. Now, quite a bit more expensive thinking about trading in your Fisker Ocean for a Rivian. Now, that's actually my biggest concern right now financially, because trading in the Fisker Ocean for a Rivian R1S seems like a great deal, but the R1S is almost 2 times more expensive than my Fisker Ocean right now. Along with the finance rate right now, it's also 2 times more than when I financed my Fisker Ocean. So those are things that I'm actually concerned about for trade-in. Now, there is a second option with the trade-in as well, because you can either just trade in your car for another Rivian and just purchase it, or you can trade in and lease a Rivian. And with the lease model, you actually get additional savings or incentives. So you can get the $7,500 EV credit added to your lease. So you can get the up to $6,000 plus the $7,500 tax credit for leasing your vehicles. Now, if you haven't guessed it by now, I do live in Oklahoma, and when I looked at the leasing for Rivian, they said that leasing is not available in Oklahoma. So if the leasing is not an option, I don't think that I will do the trade-in value for the car. And if that's the only option for me with the Fisker, I'm just gonna keep the Fisker. I just can't afford purchasing a car that's 2 times more expensive with a 2 times more expensive interest rate as well. And of course, the last option, option 3, is if you have a brick or not running Fisker Ocean, they'll probably reach out to you with a different number for the Fisker Ocean on how much they will buy out the Fisker Ocean for. Now, it may seem like these options are very easy for Fisker owners to decide on, but it really is depending on what your situation is. Now, option one would definitely be the way to go for me. I would just sell the Fisker Ocean to Rivian and take the buyout and then just have whatever loan left I had to pay for the rest of the Fisker Ocean, and then maybe look for a different vehicle. Option two is a little bit harder for me because I don't want to trade in this car and then pay 2 times more for the Rivian and 2 times more on the interest rate for the finances. But I also understand the sentiment where you're just getting out of a car that's unsupported and getting into a Rivian, which is a great company that's building great cars right now. They are coming out with lower price models. Now, within option two, leasing the car would be my second best option from just selling the car to Rivian. So I think second best option, but of course, like I said before, Oklahoma does not allow leasing with Rivian right now. So that is my thoughts on the settlement with Chase on the buyback and the trade-in for the Fisker Ocean. With that, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Gas and Watts down below and hit the thumbs up. For all the Fisker owners out there, I feel you, and good luck with your decisions. I'll see you next time.